Thank you, Doug. It's definitely a pleasure to participate in this particular session on the GEOSS Infrastructure Development Task Team. On behalf of my co-presenter, Stefano Nativi, we welcome you to this session. My name is DeLoach, and I serve as the Executive Director of the Federal Geographic Data Committee in the United States, and serve as one of the co-chairs of the GEOSS Infrastructure Development Task Team, as well as a member of the GEO Program Board. I've been involved in developing of spatial data infrastructures and working with GEO for a number of years since its inception.
Yeah, thank you, Ivan. I'm Stefano Nativi. I work with the European Commission, the Joint Research Center. I'm a big data lead scientist, and I'm one of the co-chair of the GIDTT, and I've been engaged in GEOSS for many years.
So today, Stefano would just like to take an opportunity to share with you and introduce some of the information and topics behind the work that we're doing with the GEOSS Development Task Team. It's one of those significant foundational tasks that's included in the 2020 and 2022 work program. Some of the key activities that the GEOSS Infrastructure Development Task Team leads are a development and implementation of the common infrastructure elements that are identified in the work program. The task team also provides the infrastructure to facilitate interoperability between the GEO flagships, initiatives, and community activities. In addition, one of the more important aspects and responsibility of the team is to address the user needs and significant gaps in data and services. And more importantly, one of the key cornerstones of GEO for a number of years has been the realization of the GEOSS data sharing and data management principles, which the GEOSS task team shepherds throughout its processes. Over the past several years, there have been a number of activities that we've conducted and been involved in that's really served as the underpinning for the work of the task team. There have been a number of data provider workshops that have been executed over the years. We've also taken steps to improve data management and the use of interoperability standards. One of the other key activities that we've been involved in is supporting the GEOSS platform, the pilots and use cases that have been instrumental in providing the underpinnings for moving us towards a user-driven GEOSS. As we think about the way forward, there are a number of activities that establish the new GEOSS platform and its integrated components. We've had the GEOSS portal that's been developed and supported by our colleagues at ESA. In addition, we've had the data access broker that's also provided a means of finding and accessing data. And also, there are a number of new services and features of the portal that we're also utilizing as part of the new infrastructure. Just to talk a little bit about how we're organized, there are 5 key components or work groups of teams that have been identified and articulated as part of the 2020 and 22 work program. The first team is the GEOSS Infrastructure Development Team, which oversees a number of the activities and components for foundational tasks, as well within the foundational task that ensures connectivity and synergy. The second important team is the GEOSS Operations Team, Platform Operations Team, which has the responsibility for the daily operations of a number of the services provided through the GEOSS platform. This includes the GEOSS portal, the GEO data access broker, the status checker, which is very important in monitoring the progress of GEOSS, and also the GEO Yellow Pages, which serves as that data catalog and has that documentation that's important for the users in identifying and accessing data. Third group is the GEOSS Infrastructure Evolution Working Group, which has the responsibility for the evolution of the infrastructure and the architectural components associated with that. And you'll hear more about this in Stefano's presentation shortly. And it includes members from the former GEOSS Evolve Working Group that has always had his eye on the future in terms of where the technology is taking us. The fourth key team or group is the GeoNet operations team, which has been in place for a number of years and one of those cornerstones of GEO. And it provides a lot of those services and satellite information to a lot of the developing countries. And then lastly, but not least, is the new component, the GEO Knowledge Hub and Open Source team, which is led by our colleagues in the Secretariat and has the responsibility for the development the proof of concept for the Knowledge Hub, and then also has the responsibility for the coordination of efforts on open source solutions. Some of the expected outcomes from the work that we're doing are to expand the access and reuse of Earth observations. We also are looking to improve the discovery and access to data and information and make those resources available from our GEOSS data providers. We're also taking steps to address the user needs and gaps. As we know, this is a user-driven GEOSS, and it's very important to understand those needs and those gaps. We're taking steps to expand the number of providers and users, and we've been doing this, as I stated earlier, from a number of the workshops that we've been conducting over the past several years, and those have been very successful. We're evolving the GEOSS architecture to support the analyses and decision-ready analyses that are important to our users. This would also include the considerations for how we utilize data cubes and other hubs that are available to us. We also want to improve the GEOSS services to meet user needs and adopt new standards and methods where applicable for the technologies that are evolving on a daily basis. And then lastly, we're piloting the Geo Knowledge Hub concept for product generation and reproducible knowledge. And with that, I'll now turn it over to my colleague Stefano Nativi.
Thank you very much, Ivan. And I'm just going very quickly to cover a few of the concepts introduced by Ivan. The GEOSS platform, indeed, I mean, one of the components is to continue operating the GEOSS platform as one of the key instruments in order to connect the resource providers and the GEOSS community, in particular, the potential users here. And here we are talking of something like 10,000 organizations sharing directly or indirectly their resources, not only data, and about 15,000 organizations which are unique users of the GEOSS platform. And in particular, in this area, we have organized workshop called Geo Data Provider Workshops, where we invite them and we listen to them, collecting their inputs and feedbacks in order to advance the services and the functionalities of the GEOSS platform. And this is exactly what we have been doing in the past years, because these inputs and these feedbacks provided valuable developments in this platform, allowing the GEOSS platform team to develop new services, provide also support in order to enrich the user experience, but also make the life easier for the data provider, the data and information provider, when they want to be engaged, be connected, and share their resources. And another, of course, important component here is about the evolution of the GEOSS architecture. And this is going to be a major step, and this will be the final result of a stepwise approach, starting exactly from these needs, and objectives and business objectives coming from the resource providers and users, and passing through scenarios. And then as far as the technological side, indeed we are living in a completely different technological era, where big data, machine learning, digital twins, are getting more and more present, and so we need to advance the present GEOSS architecture in order to include all these capacity and all these tools. And here just a couple of schemas to show how we are, working in order to understand at the conceptual level the best patterns in order to connect, but also to keep with the GEO principle, which are architectural principles as well as, data sharing and management principles. And another important point in terms of action and expected outcomes here is to engage more and further with regional GEO, because regional GEO play a fundamental role in order to connect to decision makers, but also the local and the national level. So in order to stay in touch with the resource producers, but also as well as users. So this is definitely an important goal. The other one is to establish further interoperability with the other global initiatives which are interested in the same strategic area of GEO, in particular Sustainable Development Goals, disaster risk reduction, and climate change. And that's it. Thank you for your attention.